you smell what The Rock is cooking?
And we welcome you to another edition of This Is Wrestling. It is Lee Versage, along with Zach McGibbon. And Zach, it's been a while. My apologies. I will put this on my shoulders and tell you, brother, that just because it's my fault, it's still your fault.
Whoa.
Yeah. Because if I'm Hogan, I can blame anybody for anything. If you want to listen to our Vince McMahon episodes of the Vince McMahon documentary. That seems to be a Hulk Hogan thing. But Zach, I'm excited to talk to you because there's so much to talk about. We got a pay-per-view coming up here as we record this tomorrow evening in WrestleDream. We got things happening in AEW. We got lots of events happening in the WWE. I really want to start with something. It's not the lead thing. It's not the most important thing. It's not maybe what you tuned into This Is Wrestling for. But Zach, I just feel like I need to start with something that I am pumped up about.
Okay.
I am jacked up. I am excited because I like to give a little positivity to the Crown Jewel Championship.
Oh,
Who's excited about a new belt being defended in just Saudi Arabia once a year, the Crown Jewel Championship, and will Goldberg be a part of it?
Oh boy. Oh, get excited. Do you feel the goosebumps?
You can feel the energy.
Yeah. Are you like The Rock where you're like slapping your hand or your arms like, oh, the goosebumps, brother? Do you feel the mana? Do you feel the mana going through this building?
I don't know if you can hear this. That's me slapping my chest, baby.
Get excited.
I'm chopping myself like Ric Flair would do in a promo.
Taking the jacket off and elbow dropping the jacket in the middle of the ring.
Zach, I actually think, and I'm trying to be somewhat serious when I say, I think the WWE has done a better job of late, and their programming has been a little bit better. When they unveiled this, I was just like, everything you've ever done here in the last 6 months to me is gone. It's over. People described it like an air out of a balloon. Yeah, I'll say air out of a hot air balloon that's like 1,000 feet up. That's
and tumbling towards the earth.
And like, because I guess what it's all about. You just know it's about Saudi money.
Yep.
And that's it. And that's all it is. The Saudi government wants the shows there and they want a title, and they're giving the WWE whatever money they're giving them and saying, we want this, and that's what they're doing. End of story. Right?
Yep. That's pretty much it. We want our own Royal Rumble? Well, we'll give you the greatest Royal Rumble. We want Yokozuna? Well, we'll give you Yokozuna from Wish. And never see that guy ever again in WWE. We're going to do everything to appeal to the Saudi Arabian government. Yeah, this reminds me a lot, really, of the greatest Royal Rumble when Braun Strowman also had that belt and he was kind of carrying it around and for that, one show, and then we've never seen that belt ever again. We have not seen another greatest Royal Rumble since then. Yeah, when that Crown Jewel announcement, championship announcement happened at the PLE this past Saturday, which I got a lot of thoughts about that PLE. I've been like a caged animal for the last couple of days, waiting, just wanting to give some takes, not only about that, but everything else going on in wrestling. But when they did that segment, first of all, it was funny because usually this WWE crowd that loves everything that the company does, seemingly, other than Solo Sikoa and whatnot. But everything else, it seems like the fans love. But they did boo the Crown Jewel Championship announcement and them going to Saudi Arabia. Wasn't loud, but there were some noticeable boos. So you know what? Kudos to them, because I thought they would cheer for this. So, yeah, and this undisputed championship continues to be very much disputed. Now we got two more belts that kind of counteract this world championship that Cody has. We got the World Heavyweight Championship and now this Crown Jewel Championship. So still very much disputed, I would say.
Okay, you got a lot of thoughts on Bad Blood, but let's start with what, I don't know, like, I'm excited to talk to you because I haven't talked to you at all about your thoughts on this. And I very much enjoyed it. I've tried to stay away a little bit from reading a whole bunch of reviews because I wanted to talk to you about it specifically without being influenced. I don't know. I thought CM Punk and Drew McIntyre was excellent.
Yeah.
Just excellent. And for all the crap that we ever want to give either Punk or McIntyre or the WWE, this is the culmination of a feud. This is a really good feud, but this is how you end a feud. This is how you finalize it. This is what you do. And I thought both guys came out looking just fantastic. I have nothing bad to say about this match at all. And maybe that's from a WWE doesn't put on a lot of matches that I really like standpoint. So when I really like one, I better stick with it, and not nitpick it. But I just thought that this was really good between, you know what it is, Zach? It's two athletes I actually believe.
Yep.
That's it. Like, you can tell us what you want about Punk, but I believe the guy when he's in the ring, and like, he makes me want to watch him. And Drew McIntyre stepped up to be one of the best people in the entire company. I believe these guys. So if I believe them when they're walking into the ring and they're in the ring, they got me. Because quite frankly, there's not a lot of people in the WWE I believe them when they're in the ring, right? Like, I don't like let myself sink into their character and be like, yeah, this is raw, this is organic, but I kind of do with these guys. So I enjoyed this very much.
This is my WWE match of the year. I really enjoyed Hell in a Cell show. Yeah. We're going to start things positive.
Here we go.
Yeah. No, I love this match. I thought this was a great match. It was better than I thought it was. I was really nervous. I was like, man, I was enjoying the way they were doing the build up to the feud that we all know about my SummerSlam review of that match. And then the strap match was fine, but it was better than the SummerSlam match, but I really didn't think it went to the levels I thought it could have when it came to this feud. And I gotta say, Lee, this was a tremendous match. This was everything I've wanted in a pro wrestling match in WWE. It had the blood, it had the intensity, it made Hell in a Cell seem like a legitimate gimmick again. The spots in this were great. There were some real violent spots. Exactly what this feud needed. And I really love this. I will say, just to nitpick a little bit, I thought there were a couple of moments where it stalled a little bit, where it was kind of taking its time a little too long. But otherwise, I thought the way that this was put together, again, the intensity in the match, the violence in the match, we got color. I thought this was great. I really enjoyed this match. This is my WWE match of the year. I think it's going to be tough to think of another match this year from this company that will top this one because it appealed to everything that I like in pro wrestling. The only thing that kind of was a little annoying to me, and I'm like, WWE, they can't help themselves, was the beads at the end, but I understood why they did it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little... Yeah, okay.
It's a little corny. I mean, let's be honest.
Have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, did the match, like, when you were watching, you were thinking, man, you know what this needed to really, put the cherry on top of this? The bracelet. Yeah. Let's get the beads for the bracelet back in, and then.
Yeah, I actually really agree with that because at no time was I thinking about that.
No.
At no time when I was watching this.
It is still funny to see Punk and the company just kind of, they won't outwardly say it, but there's still kind of an internal fight. It's like, no, we don't need the beads in this. This is fine. We could just do our own feud. And the company saying, well, no, we got bracelets to sell on the WWE shop, so make sure to put it in your match and blah, blah, blah. So, but otherwise, no, these are just nitpicks, just for the record. This is my favorite WWE match of the year, and it will probably be my WWE match of the year.
Okay. Well, I look forward to the rest of this card then, because when you start off with the WWE match of the year in Zach McGibbon's mind, it can only go downhill from there.
Oh, did it? Oh my God. Oh my godly. What was this show? I mean, I thought I had put my tape of SummerSlam in accidentally when I was watching this show. There was a lot of repeats of that. Oh my God. I thought this, like, if it wasn't for this match of the year, I would be on a similar tangent that I was on the SummerSlam review. Because, Lee, you need to explain some stuff for me. Because there's some stuff that just absolutely boggles my mind.
Where do you want to start?
Let's start off with this Nia Jax Bayley match, because that was the match after Hell in a Cell. And that really kind of set the tone for me for the rest of it.
Nia Jax can set the tone for a lot of people.
That is true, yes. So, newsflash, Lee, Nia Jax is still a bad wrestler. And spots broke down. This was actually worse than the SummerSlam match. I did think it was possible, but this was actually worse than the SummerSlam match, because at least with that SummerSlam match, the crowd just wasn't invested into it, and the two in Bayley and Nia Jax did enough to kind of make it a tangible match, especially considering Nia Jax's capabilities. It was just the crowd wasn't invested until they did that big powerbomb spot. I remember at the SummerSlam show, it's like, oh, we're back into it, and then we had Timmy Time run out, and you know the rest of the deal. In this case, it started off fine. It started off what you needed to do with the Nia Jax match, is just have her be this dominant heel and have her beat up the babyface for a long time. But then the match kept going, and it kept going, and then spots broke down, and then Nia Jax took bad bumps, and then there was that really dumb ref spot that got her knocked out. It was one of the dumbest ref spots I've seen this year. And then Tiffany Stratton runs out with the Money in the Bank briefcase. The music's on, and she's running out, and she goes and talks with the official, and then she's, for whatever reason, conflicted. Why? Why are you? This is your opportunity to cash in. But I guess because of the power of friendship, Lee, that she can't cash in on Nia Jax for whatever reason. I'm sitting there baffled. And then she's looking at Nia Jax saying, and you could hear it audibly on the camera saying, no, I wasn't going to cash it in on you, blah, blah, blah. What? You know what I was thinking, Lee? I was going back and I was watching old football press conference clips.
Yeah.
And I was brought back to the Herm Edwards clip.
You play to win the game.
Hello? You play to win the game. Adjust that for wrestling. You wrestle to win the title. What are we doing here? The power of friendship, Lee?
I know. See, I thought POF was like for a dating app or something. But apparently,
that's plenty of fish, apparently.
Right. But apparently POF means the power of friendship.
Yes.
And you know what? I love this new term that you have coined. The power of friendship.
It makes no sense, Lee.
Because if I'm the Money in the Bank holder, I want to be friends with the person who holds the title.
Yeah. And if I'm the title holder, I want to be friends with the person that's going to cash in on me. Like, what? How I saw nobody critique this. I was baffled. I was like, we love to analyze AEW stories, and we'll talk about some AEW stories here in a moment before people jump on me and say, oh, here's this AEW defender again. He's trying to defend his company. We'll talk about AEW because there's some stuff they're doing right now that is driving me insane. But in this case, why is nobody talking about the inconsistencies of the storyline? Lee, you wrestle to win the title. Hello?
Well,
you wrestle to win the title.
I don't want to provide a counter argument because there really isn't a believable one, but I will say that I guess if you're Tiffany Stratton or you're the crowd, you kind of understand that Tiffany wants to keep Nia offbeat a little bit. Like, we're friends, but are we? But yes, we are. And like, never really knowing where they're standing so she can capitalize anytime if that's the story that they're trying to present. But what I don't understand is literally she's run out how many times with this Money in the Bank thing since she won it in July. I feel like I've watched her run out 5 times since she won it 3 months ago. And it's like, Do I really believe as a fan that she's going to cash it in? No. Like, anyway, I really don't have a defense. The only defense I can even think about is if you're Tiffany Stratton, you really are keeping Nia Jax off guard by what you're doing. Like you're here, but you're there, but you're here, but you're there. But you're right. I mean, it's just, and I wasn't getting as worked up about it because I don't care about either of these people. I actually care most about Tiffany Stratton more than I care about Nia Jax or Bayley. But I've never, like, this to me is classic WWE. Or if you're a wrestling fan, you should know the difference. When you watched CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, and then we hear the fight forever things, and I can't remember whether they probably didn't chant it during that match. But
they definitely did not. If they chanted that during that match, I would have.
No, like I mean, in the first match between Punk
the first
and McIntyre.
match. Oh, I was gonna say in Nia Jax Bayley, it was not happening.
Regardless of like if they chanted in the first match, when you watch that match was 31-45, 31-25. At no point, as you said, it plodded along a little bit, but at no point was I bored.
Nope.
At no point was I like, in 31 minutes and 25 seconds after the bell rang, I was like, man, you got to end this and end this now because this is just dragging. I didn't feel that way. This was the longest 14 minutes and 10 seconds of my life watching this match. And so think about that. If you're a wrestling fan, this match was not half as long as the first match. And I felt like it was 4 times the length of it just by watching it because of how bad it was and how it plodded along. And they're just not very good. And so I just think that that's a really big difference that people need to kind of understand is that, you know, when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, 31, 32 minutes, it's not really that big of a deal. When you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're not very good, 14 minutes seems like a lifetime. And it just did in this match for me.
Oh, it did. And the story just makes no sense. Like, you wrestle to win the title. That's what people should take away from this review. You wrestle to win the title. You don't wrestle to just wrestle. You wrestle to win.
Yeah. I'll push back on you a little bit. Sometimes it's good to be the chaser that you never quite know when they're going to pounce. Sometimes it's okay to be in that position for a little bit.
But the objective is still to try to win in that scenario that you're laying out.
Yes, at some point.
Yes. I'm not saying they have to win. My whole stance is wrestlers go out there because they want to win. I'm not saying that every wrestler has to win every single one of their matches. The intent of this match was of the power of friendship. You know, not to win a match. It's like, oh, we got to make sure. I don't care about this women's championship. Okay. I need to make sure that my friendship with Nia Jax is still intact, the women's champion, despite the fact I have this Money in the Bank briefcase. What you're kind of outlining is, sure, you know, you could have the chase and whatnot, but the end goal is still to try to win. And you want to see the people see them try to win.
Playing psychological mind games with Nia.
Well, certainly this company likes to play psychological mind games with me whenever I watch these PLEs.
Power of Friendship is a new t-shirt and a new term. I don't know whether we call it the POF or we just say the power of friendship, but man, you've coined something here. Okay, on to Damian Priest and Finn Balor. I expected more from these two. Imagine this match being like a minute and a half shorter than the Nia Jax Bayley match. I know it's kind of like I want Finn Balor to be the Finn Balor of 7-8 years ago, and I know he's not. And they're certainly pushing Damian Priest in a big way from his rags to riches story in the documentary and stuff. I did not think that this was the time to have Damian Priest go over. Like, if you're trying to establish the Judgment Day that doesn't have Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley in it, that's got Finn Balor and JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan and Carlito, I need to believe that the leader of the group has some power. I didn't understand why Damian Priest went over in this match personally.
This was a very WWE Monday Night Raw match. I was going into this thinking, oh, this was going to be this heated match, and you know, the length of the Judgment Day, and finally these two are going to clash together, and they went out there for 12 minutes and 45 seconds, and they had a match. And second straight match, by the way, there was interference. Keep a little note in your pocket on that.
Oh, okay.
Second straight match.
I think there's actually more on the way, but
oh yeah, there is. Keep a note of that. So interference in this match. You could have watched this on Raw. I mean, you know, I wasn't sitting here thinking, man, I'm getting this premium wrestling match on my premium live event. You know, I thought I was getting a television wrestling match here, especially when the finish came in and Priest won. So, you know, I don't really have that strong of thoughts of this match because there wasn't really much that they gave me to give me strong thoughts. It was the strongest 3-star match I've ever watched in pro wrestling. It was just the work was fine. You know, they told the story, I guess. They had the interference, and this story must continue. So I guess I got my 12 minutes and 45 seconds worth of a match.
Explain to me why you think it was a good idea for Damian Priest to go over.
If they wanted to end this feud and they decided, you know what, there's not much juice left in this to keep it going forward. And Priest, you know, has been a guy that's taken a lot of L's in the last little bit. So you want to try and keep him, if you are focused on pushing him, to try and give him a W so that you could still have the fan support say, hey, this guy can win matches even when stuff's going on. So I think that's why they had Priest here get the victory. But I'm going to be honest with you here, Lee.
Which L has he taken lately?
Well, he took the L for that world championship itself. He didn't get the pin in the tag match in their last show, if I recall. So he needs like a visual pinfall. I don't.
Yes, but he's with Rhea. They dominated. Like, they won their last big match. I just don't. I guess I don't understand why I'm supposed to take the Judgment Day seriously when I don't believe that any of them can ever like even win a match, except for the guy we're going to talk about in a minute.
Oh yes.
Shark cage and all. My man Dominic Mysterio. Are you at least coming around on the fact that they're going to put a championship on this guy?
I will never accept it, even when they do put a championship on this guy. I will never accept it. He will not be my champion.
Folks, Zach just said when.
Yeah.
So he knows that they will.
They're going to do it. They're going to do it. You know what? Put that Crown Jewel championship on him. Why not? Why not at this point? Like, who cares at this point? Just put it on him. Let the Saudis have Dominic Mysterio as their Crown Jewel champion.
No, because then I couldn't see him defend the championship week after week after week.
Oh, no. What a big loss. Oh, no. I'm going to be, you know, tossing and turning in my sleep knowing, man, I'm not going to get myself a Dominic Mysterio title defense on this PLE. Oh, no. I'll be in the sweats. I'll be sweating, Lee.
All right. I don't even know what to say about this next match. So I'll let you take the Shark Cage, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Gonzalez, whatever she's going by these days.
Yeah.
There's nothing I liked about this.
Lee?
Liv Morgan retaining because of disqualification.
Yeah, because they botched the finish. Lee, everybody's talking about the best match in WWE, the WWE match of the year. Well, here's what they're not talking about. In my mind, Lee, this is the worst match of the year that we got here on this show.
Wow, okay. Yeah. The highs and lows of the year.
This was worse than their SummerSlam match. This was worse than Nia Jackson Bailey earlier on in this show. This match was it was horrible, Lee. It was awful. It made, I mean, where do I even start with this? Somehow in a shark cage match, which first of all, dumb gimmick. You knew I wasn't going to like it as soon as they announced the shark cage. Never liked that gimmick, even when it was in Jim Crockett and Jim Cornette was in the cage one time. I never liked it. Thought it was always goofy as all hell. And just made so that they could sell toys and gimmicks on the shop. So, of course, they put Dominic Mysterio in the gimmick. And they suspended him above the air, and somehow in a shark cage match, we still had interference. How is that? What?
Because you're not expecting it, because the only person you expect to interfere is in the shark cage. They blew you away in surprise that somehow somebody else.
Oh, they blew me away, all right. Yeah, this was such a... Liv Morgan, can we just stop with this now? Can we stop trying to, maybe there's something, there's nothing. Like, she's not going to be a main event player in the women's division. Why are we continuing on with this? I thought she was bad in this match. And I feel bad for Rhea Ripley because somehow she still is able to get over to a crowd when she has not had great opponents. I gotta give her credit for staying over, but I thought this was long, dull, boring. They did the shark cage gimmick and they kept turning to Dom. The crowd could care less about what was happening in the ring. And they were looking at Dom, who was just sitting in the cage like, oh, I don't like heights and blah, 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 right? And then for some reason, so Dominic Mysterio gets out of the cage. He's able to pick the lock and opens the cage door. Why? What are you going to do? You have a fear of heights and you're going to open the door? What, you're going to just jump down? Like, instead, so he opens the door for some reason, and then he looks, he's like, oh, it's too high. It's like, no crap, Sherlock. You're so high up. Have you not been looking down the entire time? So they open the door, and then Rhea Ripley, it's caught on the referee cam, which, by the way, shout out WCW 1991. We got the referee cam back in the WWE. And it's caught on the referee cam, and Rhea Ripley, for some reason, looks over the referee and says, let me go out here for a second. I got some business to take care of. And the referee says, okay. What? What? And so then Rhea Ripley gets out of the cage. Sorry, jumping my train of thought here. Dominic Mysterio is like, no. And I'm like, what's she going to do? What is she going to do? You're up high in the cage. Then they do the thing where he falls, but he's connected to the one leg, right, with the cable. And he starts dangling around, and then they do the piñata spot where, you know, Rhea Ripley has the kendo stick and is whipping the cane onto Dominic Mysterio. And then, as you mentioned, Raquel Rodriguez comes out. We got our run-in our shark cage match. And she runs in, takes out Rhea Ripley, and they weren't able to get back in the ring in time, so the referee had to do the count out, so it ended up being a disqualification. Oh my god! Oh my god! What? Lee, explain to me how this company is so hot right now. How is the audience connecting with this company so well? Yeet. And the bloodline that's been going on for, I think, 2 decades at this point. Like, how is this the hot company? How is AEW not able to figure out the weaknesses of WWE and putting together a better program? Like, I'm baffled. I was baffled watching this. Now, thankfully, Lee, I was not out of my mind. I was not the crazy person to the outside world when it came to this match, because others were also saying this is a bad match, which is good, because it was a bad match. But this is the worst match of the year. It made absolutely no sense. They botched the finish, and we're going to have to continue on with this storyline.
Yeah, well, where I do agree with you here, and it's one of those things you could talk about forever, or there's no point to talk about it. It was just so bad. It was
awful.
But where I do agree with you is, and I'm not faulting Rhea. I think Rhea's just in that spot where she's now a mainstream star. Kind of okay, and I don't want to compare her to this person because of like their styles or their look, but I'm just saying when the WWF at the time, or maybe WWE, kind of vaulted China up, where she won the Intercontinental title and she's wrestling men, and it was somewhat believable. You could never put her back in the women's division, especially at that time, because it was just, what's she gonna do? Fight Deborah and fight like who is she gonna fight? I'm almost feeling that way with Rhea Ripley, where they've done fairly good job in promoting her as like a really a woman you kind of want to get behind and a badass, and she's part of a group and she's the leader of a group, and you kind of buy into her in more of a top tier. Like, to me, she's not the top star of the company, but she's one of the top stars of the company. I don't know what you're going to do until Charlotte Flair comes back, because Liv Morgan's not very good, and Rhea, unfortunately, is not, and nor was Chyna, in a spot where they can carry. And it's not even fair. I'm not saying that Rhea should be able to carry every bad wrestler that comes into the ring with her, but she's not at that level where she can carry it. And it's obvious in these matches, because, and the fault goes more to the Liv Morgans and the Nia Jaxes. Like, those are your champions right now. Nia Jax and Liv Morgan. They couldn't wrestle themselves out of a paper bag. And it's just, I don't know what you do at that point. You're promoting champions based on storylines and, you know, physical looks, regardless of, like, Nia Jax is kind of the beast that you can't overcome. And Liv Morgan's the champion, what? Because she's in a relationship with Dom and she's good looking? Okay. She can't wrestle. Nia Jax can't wrestle. How many women, you know, the two best women wrestlers that the company has, well, three best, period, end of story, are one has been hurt for almost a year, and the other two just got to NXT. Right? Yep. Stephanie Vaquer and Julia.
Yep.
And Charlotte Flair are the best three women wrestlers in the company.
Yep.
None of them are on the show. It's Bayley, it's Nia Jax, it's Liv Morgan. And I just don't, Rhea Ripley's in this weird zone of, like, she's better than all of those other people, but she can't really bring them along to have a good match. And she needs a good opponent, and she can really flourish. But until then, we'll just sort of put her in this storyline that, I don't know, like, they're just caught in this really weird place. And it all comes down to the fact that most of the wrestlers that are wrestling in the women's division are just not very good. And I don't know what you do.
I guess you book them in gimmicks like this.
Well,
that's their
doing
strategy right now.
Yeah, they're doing that, and it's bombing.
Yeah.
So
this is a horrendous match.
Yeah, but how do you get out of it? I don't know. Until the Julias and the Stephanie Vaquers get there and Charlotte comes back, and maybe you can get yourself out of it. But until then, this is kind of what we're in for.
Oh boy, I'm buckling myself in. I'll get ready for that Dom Mysterio title reign coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know how to answer it other than that, because Liv Morgan's terrible, and Rhea, unfortunately, can't carry her. And then they bring in Raquel, who, again, great look. Would you trust Raquel in the ring with anybody other than Rhea Ripley to think she can have a good match? Who's Raquel going to fight that you were like, oh, okay, it's Raquel and Bayley. I'm into this. Raquel and Nia Jax. I'm into this. I don't know what's happening with Damage Control, and I actually really enjoyed when they, Io Sky and Kairi Sane. Like, I'd like to see more of them. They're just doing nothing with them.
Yep.
I don't get it. Probably spent too much time on this because it's Bloodline time. It's main event time. Zach, I didn't like this either. and you know that I like me some Cody.
Yeah.
And I'm into this more than you, I think, and more than some.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot I liked about this at all, and I especially didn't like the end.
Yeah. Fourth straight run-in to end the show as well. Once again, masterful
5 matches on the program.
That's right, 4 run-ins on a 5-match card. A masterful booking job from our Booker of the Year. Standing and applauding for what you've done, Mr. Levesque. Being able to come up with the innovative idea of the run-in. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, they were hyping this up. This was essentially our modern day Mega Powers. Get excited, Lee.
Yep.
Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu. It was 25 minutes. They did spots. They exchanged holds, I remember. I think Jacob Fatu had the nerve hold at one point. It's like, oh boy, we're changing up the holds here, Lee. Not only are we going to get the headlock or the chin lock, we're getting the nerve hold. Yes. We're going to change it up in our Bloodline main event.
It's probably a Samoan nerve hold, right? That only the Samoans know?
Yeah, like there's a certain technique that they have that they're able to pinpoint the nerve, right? Yeah. And that's why Cody was selling it so hard. It's like, oh my God, like I've never had a nerve hold like this. Never felt a nerve hold like this. Another innovation, we had the barricade break open again. They did a barricade spot again.
Which I hate, by the way.
They do it in every match.
I know.
It's crazy. It's just such innovative booking, such innovative match layout, how they just think 2 steps ahead. Yeah, it was a match, and Jimmy Uso showed up, and there was a pop because another Uso showed up and pointed at the Bloodline and got involved, and that was overshadowed, though, Lee, that Jimmy Uso returned because, as you would imagine in this match, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns won their match.
Oh, no, Solo lost again?
I know. It just blew my mind. I mean, clearly they have so much invested in Solo Sikoa being a guy that they had him lose to the 2 actual guys in the company. Yeah, Cody and Roman won. They did a lot of pausing for the crowd so that the crowd could get into stuff. A lot of stalling. There was also, they were Roman and Jimmy were walking back, and then Cody was getting beat up again after the match, and then they came back to kind of help Cody because that was part of the deal in that cinematic video at Georgia Tech Stadium, and then The Rock showed up, Lee.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
Yeah, The Rock showed up. He still has his People's Champion belt that was handed to him because he has to have a belt on TV. I'm shocked it wasn't the Crown Jewel Championship, actually. He came out, he counted to 3, and then he walked to the back. So the Great One gracing us with his presence at the end of the show. So get excited, Lee. This storyline's continuing. More Bloodline drama. Do I throw out there that maybe this Cody Rhodes guy is being treated as an afterthought, despite being the undisputed, quote, disputed heavyweight champion in this?
No, he's still the champion. He's still moving pieces. He's still the big dog. I don't think
he's not the focal point, though. He's not the focal point, though. Roman Reigns and the Bloodline are the focal point. Now The Rock's back.
Yeah, but is The Rock back? Now, look, I read a report saying that The Rock is not going to be at WrestleMania and the schedule for him. I don't know whether I believe that or not. We'll see what they do at War Games. I understand you don't like the length of the bloodline and how long it takes for them to get where they want to go. And like, I get that and I understand it. But to say that, I think they're doing a good long-term job at building up the one side against the other when it comes to Roman and Jay and Jimmy, because those are the people that they want to get behind, the fans, and you will be able to get behind them. And I understand. I don't think they've done a good job at setting up the opponents because Solo loses every match that he's ever in. And I don't think that's good for Jacob, who I think could be an absolute star. Like a monster heel. And he's kind of associated as an underneath guy with a guy who never wins, but somehow is still their tribal chief. Like, why? Why is Solo their tribal chief?
Because he says so.
Right.
Like Stone Cold back in the day.
He hasn't done or won anything to garner that. So I don't quite understand it, but I do think this all leads to, I mean, in my mind right now, it still leads to a Cody turn and a Roman and Cody 3 at WrestleMania, especially if those reports are true that The Rock does not have time to come back, that he'll kind of involve himself. He'll give some legitimacy to the Solo side for a while. And maybe they'll get a couple of wins here along the way. But I think eventually you're going to be cheering for, like, not you, but the fans are going to be cheering for Roman and Jay and Jimmy as the big face group of the company. And you're going to have Cody turn. Now, one thing I am going to talk about here, because we do need to get on to AEW and preview WrestleDream and a couple of thoughts there, because at some point we got to go. Zach, you don't have all the time in the world.
I wish I did, but I do not at this case.
Yeah. So what a little WCW or NWA action, which I love the callback to, who got beat up in a parking lot years ago, and cameras just happened to be there when a guy got beat up in the NWA. Who was that again, Zach?
You tell me.
It was Dusty Rhodes, who got beat up in a parking lot by the Four Horsemen. Cameras happened to be there.
Of course.
Perfect
timing.
Cool in the late 80s that cameras happened to be there as they got out of their I think it was a pickup truck at the time. But anyway, they attacked Dusty Rhodes in the parking lot. Kevin Owens getting into like a full discussion with Cody Rhodes and then not liking what he had to say, whatever was said, and then getting in a brawl in the parking lot against Cody Rhodes. I'm here for that. I actually thought that this was one of the best things on the card.
Which was not on the card.
No, again, but footage afterwards from the card.
Yes.
I love this. What did you think of this?
In some ways I like it. In other ways, I feel like it would be hypocritical of me to say I would like it because and say this was good, but I've been critical of AEW in the past of doing stuff for social media and it not gaining traction. And I feel like it would be hypocritical of me to say, this was great for WWE because it's going to, get people on social media talking or anything like that.
But did you like it? Yeah. When you saw it for the first time, did you enjoy watching the footage or no?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I did think though, I was wondering if they were concerned. The reason why they did that story, this angle, is they were worried that people would cheer Owens' heel turn on Cody, and if that would just be a bad look on TV. So in order to avoid that, they did it in a stage like this where it's taped in the back. You just have the fans that are there, that are kind of taping on their phones.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if they were doing something like that. And that's, in that case, then I would also have to be a little critical of the booking of Cody. If they're that concerned that people would cheer Owens doing the heel turn. So I liked it. I don't think I liked it as much as you did. I don't think it grabbed me as much as it did for others, but I could see the comparisons that you're making there.
Well, the reason I liked it wasn't even really for the Cody and the callback. Like, the callback is there for Cody from his dad getting attacked in a parking lot to him getting attacked in a parking lot. But I liked it from it wasn't just Owens. Like, from a Kevin Owens character point of view, I thought this fit perfectly. Where it was like, okay, they are friends. Kevin has been frustrated. He's been very frustrated, but he has not turned on Cody Rhodes. He has not attacked him from the back. And this was like me and you getting into an argument as friends, but we're getting frustrated with each other. And you know what? I lost my temper. But it wasn't just, I'm attacking you. It was, no, we're having a discussion. It's getting heated. And then I kind of let my frustrations boil over and made a stupid decision. But that fits with the Kevin Owens character right now, that he's boiling and frustrated, but he's not like this crazy, I'm going to attack you from behind. They were in a discussion, and you could see on the cameras that they were talking, and it just got a little bit heated. And then Kevin was like, I've had enough. And I think it just fits his character going forward. And I actually think that they can make it whatever they want. They can make Owens and Cody feud. And then they can also come together again saying, look, we're both frustrated at things that are happening. And yeah, people lost their cool, but hey, that's what happens sometimes. And maybe Kevin apologizes and gets out of it. I don't know. I'm just intrigued with it. And I thought they helped Kevin Owens' character in this because it wasn't an attack from behind. It wasn't a cheap shot. It was just tempers boiled over in a discussion between friends. And I like that. I thought that was decent. And it's a callback to what Cody was doing before. All right, let's change from the WWE, get over to AEW, and we got WrestleDream coming up.
Yep.
And I know that you have some things to say. There was Title Tuesday. I don't want to get too far down the road of, like, I had a lot of thoughts on Tuesday about the WWE, of course, like they always do, sending Randy Orton and sending A-Town Down Under and sending who else did they send down to NXT?
Sexy Red.
Yeah, like, you know, and all of a sudden, like, there's, you know, they're loading up a show because they're going up against AEW that's on an off night.
Yeah.
Never like that strategy for people to go, look at NXT, it killed AEW. And it's like, okay, AEW was on a different night than usual, and WWE was on their same night and sent down all of their megastars. Yes. Because they can't draw flies without them.
Yeah.
And then all the old people that they recycle again, and for people to say NXT got a good number, like, I'm just done with the argument. It's just not true. And I don't care how many people NXT got, and I don't care that AEW didn't draw well on a night they're normally never on.
Especially when they're on a new network and trying to get settled into a new audience.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me in the least, but it drives me crazy. And it would drive me crazy if AEW loaded up a show on a different night for the WWE as well. So I just don't like it when companies do this. I know it's competition. I get it. But if you think you're winning in the ratings by a 1 week pop because you sent down all your old fogies, like, no, I just don't put any stock into it. But what did you get quickly here from Title Tuesday before we get into WrestleDream?
Sorry, in terms of you want me thoughts on the Title Tuesday?
Yeah, like, did you think on Title Tuesday that anything progressed to WrestleDream in a way that you thought was like, okay, yeah, like we got there, and because I didn't love Title Tuesday, to be honest.
I thought it was a weird show Tuesday. Yeah, it was weird. First of all, Title Tuesday, one title defense on Title Tuesday. And I know they said in the main event, all of these champions are fighting in the main events. Like, pump the brakes here, Tony. Okay? That's not what Title Tuesday was in the past. Don't try and put one over me on this one. Yeah, I mean, I like the Danielson and Moxley stuff that they're doing. I like that main event stuff. There's some undercard things, man, that they have to get. They have to fix some stuff here, man, because there is some WWE ass booking that's going on in this undercard. Just backwards logic. And again, I say it on this show where it's, again, 27 or so people in the back that have some sort of contributions to the storylines, and none of them are able to pick up these inconsistencies that are going on in the stories. Like, for example, and we could tie it into the predictions as well to try and, kill two birds with one stone. The Young Bucks versus Private Party, they're going to have a World Tag Team Championship match at WrestleDream. The Bucks are going to retain. But the way that they did that, they first had Private Party announce and challenge for the Bucks, which made no sense because they were losing a bunch of their matches, if not all their matches going in. I just saw them get beat up by Moxley's crew, but they're challenging for a title shot. The Bucks say yes. Then they do the matches where then Private Party earns the title shot. Not the other way around. not Private Party winning matches and then putting a title shot to the Bucks. It was the opposite way around. Like, it's stuff like this with this company. It's why I'm critical of them, because they could be better than this. And it's why I mention, the people that are back there. It's like, is there one continuity writer back there, or continuity person, whatever they want to be called? I don't care what the title is, writer, producer, editor, lump on a log, whatever they're called. Just as somebody there, kind of look at these storylines and say, this doesn't make sense here. We got to make an edit here. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Like I'm
going to interrupt you for a second, because I'm going to put myself over here.
Sure.
For years, not only in wrestling, but in sports, I have been calling from many points of view, but two in particular in the world of sports, especially in the world of football. Number one, when it comes to coaching, could every coach in every organization in all football, NFL, CFL, college, could somebody just go, you know what? We're going to hire a person and we're going to call them the common sense coach. We're just going to be, that person will just have a direct line to the coach and bring some common sense and like, hey, so if it's with the Red Blacks, it's leave or stage. I should be their common sense coach. And I'm just going to have a direct line to Bob Dice and say, Bob, you're not seeing this. This is what you need to do in this case, because you're actually trying to make it way more complicated than it should be. I know there's a lot going on the sidelines, but here is just what you need to do in this situation. Just use a little common sense here. Then, when it comes to the referees, especially in football, but in all sports, just have a common sense review, common sense referee upstairs. Referees are arguing about who went offside and who was the first in the neutral zone, and did the guy get the first down, and did he reach, like, was the knee on the ground? Guys, it's okay. I've looked at it. Here's what you need to do. Don't be arguing. I'm going to tell you what's right here, and that's it. Let's use a little common sense and move on. And wrestling needs it too. They need it in the background. They need somebody to be an oversee person to go, okay, you've got this is how I would do it in AEW and WWE. Okay, you've got all the producers and all the agents that are booking these matches. Once you're done, let's say the card starts at 7. Well, you have all of your matches with all of your talent and booked, and everything is ready to go at 5. And then you're going to come to me. And I'm going to look all of them over and go, hey, there's 4 of the same goddamn thing here. And I'm just going to go, okay, and you are going to switch things around and come up with something else because we're not presenting 4 things in a row that are exactly the same. Like 4 run-ins in 5 matches.
Yep.
The world needs a little common sense. So I'm with you. Just have a little common sense in the background and somebody to be in charge. Tony Khan, hire somebody to be the common sense person before your shows go to air. That's it.
Even somebody within the team, like, there's just way too many voices back there. I just, like, there's that, there's also other aspects. Chris Statlander's now a babyface and is no longer with Stokely Hathaway. Why? Just 'cause she says it at a backstage promo? She's like, oh, well, I lost my manager and I lost my group. Why? Why did you lose it? You had this, you won your feud and people liked your pairing. So why are we moving forward with that? Other than the actual reason being, well, we realize we don't have that many title challengers that can, take on Mercedes Moné as a babyface. So we're going to turn Statlander back to a babyface, get rid of Stokely so that she could challenge Mercedes Moné in the future. Like that's AEW used to be so much better than that when it came to putting these storylines together. It makes no sense. This would be something I would rant and rave about what WWE would do back in 2019, where they would just randomly drop stuff for no reason. Konosuke Takeshita is in contention for the International Championship. You know why he's in contention for it in a 3-way with Ospreay and Ricochet? Because he interfered in a match. That's why. No matches won, no rankings. I'm going to keep on harping on this. Nothing. It's because he interfered in the International Championship match between Ospreay and Ricochet, so somehow that constitutes him getting a title match. Willow Nightingale is facing off against Mariah May, despite the fact she lost her feud to Chris Statlander. And yet, somehow, because she won a 4-way, that somehow she was eligible to be in the number 1 contender for the Women's World Championship. Now she has a title match against Mariah May. Like, it's stuff like this, Lee. Like, it shouldn't be this hard to try and find some sort of consistency. But this undercard that they're doing here in AEW is so wacky when it comes to their booking. This is the most inconsistent the booking has been since AEW has started.
Well, and I think it reflects in the actual card.
Yeah.
For WrestleDream, that I don't feel like WrestleDream was supposed to be this event where you had these matchups that you really probably couldn't see at other times. And now it's just another pay-per-view on the card. Because Mariah May and Willow Nightingale seems like a match I could watch on Dynamite fairly easily. The Bucks and Private Party, I could watch fairly easily. Chris Jericho and Mark Briscoe for the Ring of Honor title when they need something else to be on an AEW show from Ring of Honor, where I just don't understand that either. Even Jack Perry and Shibata. I don't know. I don't really feel like that's a pay-per-view worthy match yet. Maybe if they built it up a little bit more, but I'm having a hard time looking at this card going, like, I know that Ospreay and Ricochet and Takeshita is going to be good because, well, Ospreay's in the match and Takeshita's pretty good and Ricochet will fly around, but it's not like I just know that they're going to have a good match because Ospreay's in it.
Yep.
It's not like to the next level of what's really is Takeshita really gonna win the title? I don't really care. I don't even care if Private Party wins the tag belts. I wouldn't get it, but I don't care. So I look at this card and I go, which matches do I really care about? And the answer is the World Heavyweight Championship match, and that's it.
Yep.
That's not the way I want to feel about an AEW card. Anyway, so that bothers me. Your quick thoughts on matches that you're looking forward to, and I guess the last match that I think we all are looking forward to.
Yeah, and other than the main event, we'll talk about it in a bit, but some of the other matches, like, I look at this card and there are matches just in a vacuum that I like, but we've talked about it on this show here, Lee. Like, we can't just look at these matches in a vacuum and not take into account the booking. Right. If I'm going to be critical of WWE for that, I'm also going to be critical of AEW for that. And the booking into this card has just been, like, it's been so... There's just no cohesion right now when it comes to the booking. In terms of matches, as a pure wrestling fan, I cannot wait for Hologram versus Beast Martos. Like, that could be a really fun match, especially because I think Beast Martos rocks, and those two have good chemistry based on their previous matchups in AEW. So in a 2 out of 3 falls match, this is going to be as lucha gets on this card. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, match quality wise, I think Ospreay, Ricochet, and Takeshita will be good. Darby Allin, Brody King is probably how I envision will go in terms of Darby Allin will take an ass whipping. Again, there are matches on this card I like, but the booking going into it has just been preposterous. The main event, though, in Danielson and Moxley, I'm very much interested where it goes because I don't think it's 100% each way. I think it could go either way. Based on the way that it's being kind of told on TV, in terms of Danielson has really been ramping up the neck injury stuff. At first, I thought it was just him kind of working and just kind of, trying to get some sort of storyline over, but it's been getting more and more over. And look, I might be getting worked into a shoot here when it comes to this, but I'm starting to think, oh, maybe his neck is a little bit more screwed up than he's letting on. And maybe this is the opportunity for him to get out. And it's not like they're promoting it as a full retirement for Danielson. It's the retirement of his full-time career. And I think if you really want to get this group, that Moxley's group, to the next level, I think a win over Danielson, and you have that scalp of him saying, I beat Danielson and I forced him to retire from full in wrestling and blah, blah, blah. I think that will do big things for this group that they're really pushing right now. So I think Moxley's going to win this AEW World Championship.
It would make sense. The only thing I think that could deter from it a little bit is the fact if they wanted to elongate it, and they are working us a little bit, that eventually they are going to put it on Moxley. But do they find a way for Danielson in Seattle to, against all odds, like he always does, regardless of the neck, like maybe he comes out, wins the match, and then says, look, I am so beat up. I just don't have that much left in me. And then Mox comes out again and they prolong the feud and Mox eventually beats him. I'm a little bit torn on that, but it makes sense what you're saying. It totally makes sense for Moxley's group to go over here and Moxley to kind of take the company. I don't really know where that leaves. MJF's going to be coming back after filming Happy Gilmore 2. You would think Adam Cole is coming back at some point. Kenny Omega is going to come back at some point. What are they doing with Hangman and Swerve? I feel like that's been a little bit lost. Like Swerve's coming back. Well, they got the Hurt Business. Why is Jay White fighting Hangman Page?
Well, that's another one too. Where he just showed up as a babyface.
Yeah,
it's like
I'm not quite sure why that's happening, and like they haven't really explained that very well. I'm glad to see Jay White back, but I feel like a Jay White Hangman Page match should be way more built up than this.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're going to make Jay White a babyface. Like, what has Jay White done to deserve a babyface turn?
Nothing.
Again, it goes back to the issues with the booking right now of AEW in terms of this undercard and the way that it's going here. And it's affecting their attendance figures, Like, you look at some of those attendance numbers that are coming up, like, there's a show right now, it's a month away, so it'll grow more, but right now there's a Dynamite with 798 tickets sold. Less than 1,000, and we're a month away.
Where is that show?
I believe it's in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I believe that is the show. It's like a month away, and they'll get over 1,000 on that. Like, they will make a push to make sure it gets over 1,000. But we are long past the time of Dynamite's, going on sale, and there's 3,000 that's already out.
Yeah.
Like, and it, to me, and this could be a whole episode, so I'm not gonna waste too much time on this, but as the standards get lower in terms of the booking and what they hold themselves accountable to, less and less people are going to be invested in stuff because you're not adding stakes and standards to your storytelling. And so less and less people are thinking, well, if they're not going to care about this stuff, why should I? And they're leaving. And they're not going in. And it's addressing the popularity of this promotion. And I know they got a new TV deal, and trust me, I was one of those people that was waving that flag. You know it, Lee. I was saying it from the start. I was saying this company's going to get a new TV deal, and they did. And I'll talk about Eric Bischoff in another day because
I was going to say, when we have more time here, you are going to get your platform here to talk about their new TV deal with Eric Bischoff.
Yes, exactly. Especially with this pending Fox deal that seems to be in the works, or at least another TV deal that's going to help them make themselves even more profitable. So let's just make it clear. I'm coming at this from I know what this company will be profitable, be around, but there are legitimate issues that this company has right now when it comes to popularity and attendance and getting people invested in the programs. The only things that they're invested in are the pay-per-views, because the pay-per-view buys are still consistently good, and the attendance figures for them is still pretty solid. They're at over 7,000 for WrestleDream. It could be better, but their pay-per-views are still their consistent movers when it comes to business. So, but they have legitimate issues right now, and it just goes a lot back to how they treat their TV each week and how they treat their storylines each week. And people aren't showing up at the building, and it's affecting their popularity. So, anyways,
we'll be back with a full WrestleDream review and episode 3 of Vince McMahon early next week. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, Zach, and to everybody and listeners, all the listeners. Hope they have a great Thanksgiving weekend, and appreciate your time here today, and look forward to the WrestleDream review and more on Vince McMahon coming up next week. So for Zach McGibbon, I'm Lee Versage saying happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for listening to This Is Wrestling.